mapping out your schedule, blocking it out in your calendar. This also really helps your clients as well. It helps with expectations. You know, your client A knows that you work on their stuff in the morning. And so if they contact you after 12:30, they're not going to hear from you until the next morning. That's okay if they know, if they understand that. You set really clear expectations, blocking out in your schedule, being very structured in sort of how you balance your clients is not selfish, it's not rude, it's really helpful. Over communicate, over support. It also helps with your brain, you know?
Hey, Laptop Freedom Babes, Wonderlust.
This is Rose from Greece.
Hello.
I just want to pop on here. I've been talking about this a lot with my current LFP cohort about, you know, balancing work and schedule and work-life balance, but, you know, and then we can apply this in a context that, you know, how do you balance working for multiple clients? And you know, a tip that has been really, really helpful for me is that, you know, you separate your work for each client. You put them in like different compartments, different mental baskets, and that you really lean into calendar blocking and scheduling so that you're able to keep each client you're able to give each client sort of your undivided and present focus and attention. So I'm listening to the audiobook, The 5-Hour Work Week, which I think I've told everyone now. It feels like I've told everyone now. Let me know if you've read it. Let me know in the comments if you've read Tim Ferriss's 5-Hour Work Week. Really, the book is about being really effective and efficient with your time and tasks, because when we become virtual assistants, when we start to work for ourselves, what we really want is we want work-life balance. Absolutely. We want to step away from the 9 to 5 atmosphere where we only have 4 hours of work and yet it takes us 8 hours to do it because we're twiddling our thumbs, we're bored, we're standing at the coffee machine, we're staring into space, because we know we can't leave the office until 5. So we just stretch out all the work that we're expected to do from 8 till 5, even though we could probably crank it out in 3 to 4 hours. And how great would it be if we could just walk into the office, crank out what we need to do, and then leave? And how much harder would you work if you saw, you know, Susie in the office leave at noon because she completed all her tasks, right? Like, it would be a lot more effective work environment, but that's not how corporate America has. That's not how they're doing things. They're keeping people in offices until 5, and so we're not effective with our time. But now that you are working for yourself and your schedule is up to you and you want more time in your day to do life stuff, you know, how great would it be to have 4 hours of work to do and you literally do it in 4 hours in the morning? And then you have the rest of the day to life, whatever that is, your hobbies, spend it with your family, grocery shop not during the crazy rush hours of grocery shopping. And so how do you balance having multiple clients? How do you be more effective with your time? They're all connected. It's about being really conscious with your schedule and giving yourself tools and tips and tricks to really help you out. So one is to, you know, calendar block out your clients and be consistent with it, especially if you have some clients have meetings. You know, if you have a client that, you know, every Tuesday your meeting's at noon, then maybe that's a client that you work on their work in the first half of the day. And then maybe you have another client where you work on their stuff after 12 and you move on. You do a switch. You switch the brain. And then maybe you have a smaller package client and you work on that stuff Thursdays. Whatever it is, really mapping out your schedule, blocking it out in your calendar. This also really helps your clients as well. It helps with expectations. You know, your client A knows that you work on their stuff in the morning. And so if they contact you after 12:30, they're not going to hear from you until the next morning. That's okay if they know, if they understand that. You set really clear expectations, blocking out in your schedule, being very structured in sort of how you balance your clients is not selfish. It's not rude. It's really helpful. Over communicate, over support. It also helps with your brain. These are the hours you're working with this client, and you don't have to think about client B while you're working with client A. And then when you switch to client B, that's it. You don't have to think about client A anymore. You've moved on, you've switched, because multitasking or having to-do lists in your brain divide your attention, divide your focus. We live in a day and age where we take pride in multitasking. Multitasking is habitual. We're watching movies and we're scrolling on our phone at the same time. Both of those things we're only doing half-ass, 50-50. It's impossible for us to give 100% of our attention to two things at the same time. And so if we multitask, if we worry about multiple clients at the same time, it divides our attention and we are less effective and efficient with our time. Less effective. We feel like we're accomplishing two things at the same time, but in fact, it's taking way longer than if we just focused on one at a time. Focus. And this is a muscle that we might have to retrain, especially with instantaneous. I'm a culprit. Like, training my mind to focus on one thing until it's complete is hard. I want to go on Instagram. I want to see what's over there. And so it's an exercise. It's a muscle we have to exercise and go to the gym for. So when you have tasks, if you want to be more effective and efficient with your time, and we do, because as VAs, we want more work-life balance. We want time back into our control. If you have 4 hours of work to do, we don't want it to take all day. Then sit down, write out in a to-do list everything that you need to do so that your brain isn't responsible for holding on to it. Good. Thank you, brain, for the to-do list. I'm going to put it on a piece of paper. You no longer have to worry about it. And you start at the top. Prioritize them. You start at the top. You're like, okay, client A, these are the things that I'm going to accomplish for them today. And you go through them one at a time. You don't have your email open, right? Notifications, ding, ding, ding. Put your phone on silent. These kind of distractions you want to help so that you can be more effective with your time, so that you can be going and playing outside, so that you can be, if you're traveling, you want to be able to go see those monuments, whatever it is that you're doing. You want to be able to make that flight. You want to be able to go to the beach, whatever it is you're doing. It benefits you to be more effective with your time. And so if you have multiple clients, you want to schedule them out, block them out in your calendar so that you're not worried that you might not get to client B's work. You know you will. You know you will because it's there. And then work on one task at a time. Work on one client at a time so that your focus is fully present and you can just complete the task. And also, when we're working from home, this also applies when we're working from home, okay? So it's hard for us to sit down and focus on that task that we need to do for that client when the dishwasher needs unloading or when the laundry needs to be switched over to the dryer. Those are taking up precious spaces of energy, of decision-making energy in your brain. You can tell yourself, I'll just get to it later. But does the voice quiet? Not always. So if you're sitting down and working for a client, make sure that your at-home environment supports that. You have to create an environment now that you're in charge of your own schedule, you have multiple clients, and you're working from home. This is what we want to maximize. We want to maximize your time so that you can be more lifey. You can do more life stuff. So that might mean that you sit down at your laptop and you be like, no, I'm not focused. I'm not present on this task. I need to take 2 minutes and unload the dishwasher. And then you come back. You did that for yourself so that you can be more effective for your time. You did that for your client so you can get those tasks out, finished, done sooner at a higher quality. So when you're working from home, when you're working with multiple clients, when you're in charge of your own schedule, be really conscious. Are you multitasking? Is your brain full of things that you're supposed to do? And what tips, tricks, and tools can you give yourself? Not because you're weak. It's because you're human. You're not a superhero. You're human. So what can you do? Does that mean writing a to-do list? These are the 5 things I'm going to do today. taking a pen and crossing them off so you feel good? Does that mean calendar blocking? Client A in the morning, client B in the afternoon, client C Thursdays. And does that mean that you might have to, take 15 minutes, go into your environment and be like, I actually need to tidy my office because the clutter's distracting me and I'm not able to focus. So you want to be more effective with your time so that you can be doing life stuff, you can be traveling, all that juicy, yummy stuff. So when you have multiple clients, when you're working from home and when you're in charge of your own schedule, what tips and tricks and tools can you give yourself to really help yourself be more effective with your time? So think about that. Avoid multitasking, implement calendar blocking, and be compassionate about your work environment and make sure that it's clean and clear and not distracting.